It's been a few months now since I graduated from university, and that's left me with quite a lot of time to reflect on my entire experience as a law student. Now, I don't like to live with regrets, but there are some things that I wish I did differently, or some things that I wish I tried whilst I had the chance. So I'm going to share with you 4 things that upon reflection I wish I had tried or done differently, so that you can make the most of your university experience and you don't miss out on any opportunities. Firstly, I wish that I'd just joined more societies and tried more experiences whilst I was at university. Uni is such a great time to try new things. My students' union alone had hundreds of different societies, creative, different subjects, loads of different types of sports and fitness, and so it's very easy to try things that you've never had the opportunity to try before. I did some societies, but I mainly did things that I had already tried before, like ballet, netball, and law society because it was relevant for my career. But I didn't try anything new. I think part of the reason was that I didn't necessarily want to go to these societies on my own, or I didn't know anyone in them, and so I felt a little intimidated to try them. So for you, I would say to maybe ask a flatmate or someone that you're friends with to try new experiences with you. For example, if you've never done dance before, I know that they do loads of different taster sessions in Freshers Week, and so if you just want a bit of fun exercise, then a great idea is to try out ballroom dancing or something. And if you hate it, you never have to go back, but you'll make so many fun memories by just trying new things and having fun. And it's also a great way to de-stress from studying and working by just spending an hour of your evening trying something new. There are also a lot of events that the Students' Union puts on in general or in collaboration with different societies, and again, I would try to go to as many of these as possible. I think the reason why I didn't necessarily go to as many events was because in first year my halls were far away from campus, so I didn't want to always travel in to do something, especially on an evening when it was dark and cold. But if you live on campus, or if getting there is more accessible for you, then it's a really fun thing to try in the evening, maybe with your flatmates in first year or different course mates, or even on your own. Things like going to a quiz and curry night hosted by your Students' Union. So maybe make a bucket list of 5 or 10 different things that you want to try that you've never done before, and each semester you can try and do a couple of those things before you graduate. Secondly, I wish that I had considered studying abroad or doing a placement. The reason why I completely overlooked doing a placement or studying abroad is that for law it wasn't really necessary for me to do either of those things, so I didn't really give it much thought. I knew that I just wanted to continue with my degree, and I also wanted to graduate with my friends. But knowing how I felt after second year, I think that doing something different would have prepared me better for third year. What I mean is that after sitting my second year exams and being law school president for a year, I felt so tired and burnt out and just lacking in motivation and discipline, and the summer break between second and third year wasn't enough for me to fully recharge before third year, so I struggled at the start with the workload. Studying abroad or doing a placement is a great way to change your environment. So if you're working on a placement, you get into a really great routine of working 9 to 5 every single day, which means that when you go back and complete your 4th year or your final year, you're used to working long hours, and you've also broken out of studying constantly and you're ready to go back to it. Likewise, studying abroad is firstly a great opportunity to travel and go to a new place, but again, it's a great way to break up your degree between second year and third year. I'm not telling you that you have to do a placement or to study abroad, but maybe just to consider it if it's something that you think could be an option for you, and if you want to maybe extend your degree slightly and you're not quite ready for third year and the stress of a dissertation. Studying abroad or doing a placement is a great way to bridge that gap and to also learn new skills. Your university will have a careers department that can guide you through the process and may even suggest different companies or universities to apply for, so definitely make the most of that, or at least give it more consideration than I did. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to subscribe. Thirdly, I really wish that I had worried less about careers. I went to university with the intention of getting a degree that would make me more employable and to help me in the future, but that meant that at times I was worrying about getting a vacation scheme or a summer internship at the cost of preparing for exams or doing my coursework. I felt that there was a lot of pressure to get onto open days at different law firms and to get a summer vacation scheme, and that by the time I graduate I should have a training contract, which did not happen. And the reality is that most people do graduate without a training contract in law, and that's okay. But I wish I had understood how competitive the process was so that I didn't put as much pressure on myself. The reason is because you're at university to get a degree and you're not there for a long time. And of course it's a balance. You want to study hard and get the best grades possible, but you really don't want to come out of university with no work experience whatsoever. So it is hard to find a balance between both. I just felt like in third year, honestly, the thought of graduating without a job lined up really did scare me. But the reality is I have graduated without a training contract, and the world did not end. I now have another job working so I can live at home and decompress after my degree. I'm not telling you to stop applying for training contracts or vacation schemes times, but just to stop putting pressure on yourself if you're finding the process tedious. Whenever I have had an assessment centre, I've always been the youngest one there, so I do wish that I had spent less time on applications and more time focusing on my degree whilst I was there. Of course, it is helpful to apply for different jobs just to develop your skills of actually writing an application. If you do send a few applications each university year, then you'll build your ability to write a strong CV, your interview skills, and of course you might actually get the job or an internship, which would be amazing. But either way, you're still developing crucial skills whilst you have access to university resources too, like the careers department. Overall, as much as careers are really important whilst we're at university, if you're like me and you're pursuing a career in law where it's incredibly competitive, it is okay to graduate and to go into something different first to build your experience and continue to apply once you've finished university. And I do wish that there was more information for law students going through the same process as me and feeling less pressure to get a training contract whilst at university, as it's incredibly difficult balancing a degree and also pursuing a competitive career. Finally, one thing I wish I did more of was spending more time with my friends, which I know sounds really sad, but I found especially in third year, it was so hard to meet up with my friends because we're all so overworked. We were all working on our dissertations. It was the hardest year by far in terms of workload, and we were all on our own routines. So it's really hard to line up our schedules to meet up, especially after first and second year when we would regularly meet to go for a coffee together. I also don't think it helped that my degree is quite independent, and so a lot of the studying you just do by yourself. So I'd say that no matter how stressed you are or how much work you have, seeing your friends is a really good way to completely take your mind off work and to enjoy your university experience. Even if it's an hour on an evening just trying a new activity, you could go to like a quiz night or painting evening or building a gingerbread house for Christmas together. So overall, those are 4 things that I do regret about university, or things that I wish I did differently with hindsight. Of course, I don't want to live with regrets. These are just things that I've reflected upon and I wanted to share with you so that you can consider them during your time at university. Whether you're applying at the moment, you've already started, or you're in your third year, try to implement a few of these ideas. So between your studying, when you do have a rare amount of free time, instead of just spending it on Netflix or YouTube, try to make the most of your university experience whilst you're there. Comment this emoji if you watched all the way to the end, and I'll see you next week. Bye!